Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode of Foster For, the podcast where we do all things fostering. We talk about everything from the process to actually becoming a foster carer to all the behind the scenes from the staff. And today's episode, we have...
My name's Lucy Webber and I'm the Fostering Recruitment Manager for Capstone, Excel and Foster Care UK.
So Lucy, what's your background? How did you get into this position?
Well, originally I worked in travel when I left school. So I had lots of experiences travelling and loved booking holidays, but I got experience in customer service. Then after 12 years in travel, I had 4 children. So I had 10 years off. And then whilst I was off, I trained to be a counsellor. And I got a counselling qualification. Then got jobs more in support work. And in those roles, I'd work with young people, children, adults, with dealing with lots of different issues. And I work with foster children quite a lot, children who've been in care, care experience, children and young people. And I'm on the other side of it now, looking for the foster carers to look after the children. It gave me a really good understanding of what their experiences are and how their life experiences affected them in terms of emotional issues and behaviour. But obviously that's not always the case.
Yeah.
But it was just nice to be on the other end of it, trying to get the support and help for them.
So give me a day to day. So you've come into your job. What are you expecting to do? What are you wake up in the morning thinking, okay, planning ahead, this is what's going to happen today?
Well, so I work with, there's 4 of us in our team. So it's the fostering advisors, and the whole of the team, they will manage all the brand new inquiries. That's including me. So when we get up in the morning, we all work from home. We come into the office usually once a week, every other week, because it's really important to see each other face to face. We get all inquiries emailed through the website. So every morning we focus on what new inquiries we've got. They may have specified that they want calls at different times throughout the day, so we'll always take note of that. And we will make contact with anyone that's contacted us. We have an online chat, so we're dealing with people who are responding to inquiries online. We also get inquiries through social media. And our main goal is to get to speak to people to see if they're in a position that they're able to move forward with the fostering process. Obviously, it's got to be the right time for them, and there are criteria that they would need to meet. So once we've had those conversations, even if it's not the right time, we might offer to give them a call back later on. But our goal is to arrange for fostering recruitment advisors to go out and see people at home.
So hopefully after this podcast, you'll be getting people hopefully calling you, and I'll recognise your voice already.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, where did you hear from us? And they'll be like, oh, I saw you TikTok. So hopefully your job's going to become a lot more busier after this podcast, and people are going to hopefully come and know everything they need to do on the phone call to impress you.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been working with Capstone for doing this role?
Well, I've worked in Capstone for 3 years. And I started off initially as a fostering advisor team leader, but my role developed naturally as people left. I picked up more and more duties on a day-to-day basis. So I do a lot of the numbers as well, and reporting, so which I absolutely love, and I just find it really interesting to analyse.
Reporting is, I think, my favourite part of my job.
Right.
It's like the best part, just getting all the numbers and then being able to be like, oh, this is actually the work we're doing.
Yeah.
I think in numbers, it just makes so much more sense.
It totally does. Even though obviously foster carers aren't just numbers.
Yeah, of course.
It just gives you that satisfaction to see that actually we've contacted and we spoke to people. I work out on a monthly basis how many hours we spend on the phone, and that is so many hours in conversation discussing with people as a team about fostering, and it's just amazing what they do. My team are all really passionate and they really want to help people. They want to recruit foster carers, so they'll always try and look for the positives and any way that people can progress forward, and recognise, that they've got that desire to foster.
So the kind of purpose of this podcast is to speak about the initial call, but also some myths. So what would you say are some of the common myths that you hear kind of on the phone to people who are calling and feel like they are ready to foster but are kind of scared that they won't be able to because of different reasons?
Oh, we get lots of things. So some people think that you can't foster if you're single, if you're a same-sex couple, and for both of those, families come in all different dynamics. And as long as you've got the skills and knowledge and experience and desire to want to foster, then it's absolutely fine.
What are some of those skills do you think that people from those types of backgrounds who don't think they've got the skills, what are the different skills where they might not realise it? Do you think, what are the key ones that you're looking for on the phone?
Just generally a caring nature, the desire to help others. I think that's the main thing. People don't necessarily have to have had their own children. They may have experience of working with children in paid employment or voluntarily, or they might have family members or friends' children that they look after. We take into account any care experience because it just shows your nature of building those relationships and having that experience. So you don't have to have had your own children to be able to foster.
How about people, because I know when I'm doing some of the social media stuff, we do some education pieces and talk about some of the different types of foster care that we have and that they fit these criteria that you wouldn't actually expect them. So like renting, people think that you have to own your own home to be able to foster. What other things like that do you reckon there are?
So with renting, whilst you're on the subject, you can foster in a rented property. You would need your landlord's permission, and we would recommend that you have a long-term tenancy agreement. That's purely so we can give that child stability. The last thing we'd want is to place a child within your home to live with you, and then you have to move because your tenancy agreements run out. So those are what we'd ask for. But also people think that they're too old, and you're never too old. Whatever age you are, we'll always do medical assessments. We need to know that you're fit and well, mentally and physically, to be able to foster, because we've got a duty of care to our foster carers too, and we wouldn't want to put them in a position that's detrimental to their health at all. So, but the thing with older people or people who have retired is they've got the availability.
So empty nesters. All the children have flown in the nest. And they also, I think when we talk to some foster carers who are older, they're always like, oh, I didn't think I do. And they're like, did you have any grandchildren? And they've always got like grandchildren that they're helping, looking after, but they think that they can't foster, but they are looking after their grandchildren all the time and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's just people don't put it into perspective, do they?
Definitely, yeah. And what else do we get?
Going back to renting. I know you talk about like landlord and stuff. How about council? Because from landlords, that's more private, is it? How about if they have like a council house that they kind of rent with?
Council house is fine. That's fine. And what I would say as well, if you're not working and you're claiming benefits, usually you can claim your benefits alongside fostering, because it's classed as an allowance, not a salary. So if you've got that spare bedroom, which you must have to foster, your own children can share a bedroom as long as it's something that they're always used to doing, and they're the same gender and of a similar age, and of course they want to share, because the last thing that we would want is any resentment for a foster child coming in and having their bedroom, because it wouldn't be fair to anybody, all the children. So council property's fine, no problem.
So we spoke about some myths. Are there any guaranteed no's like that if you do tick any of these boxes, like you're unable to foster? So you talk about they have to have a spare bedroom. That is like, I think, one of the biggest requirements, because where are they going to sleep otherwise? But are there any other big requirements that they definitely need, otherwise it's a guaranteed no? So you must be a British citizen or have indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Okay, again, that's so we can offer the child stability. We don't want to place a child with someone who is at risk of deportation. We need to make sure that they've got that. If that would be the main carer, okay, so the main carer would have to have ILR or British citizenship.
We also would consider any criminal convictions, especially if there's any criminal convictions against a minor. That would be a no. But other than that, we'd need to make sure you've got availability as well. So if you are working full time, fostering and full time work probably isn't going to work, because we need to know that you've got the availability to take the child to school and pick them up and be around in school holidays for them. And also there's other commitments with fostering as well, like meetings and training and support groups, and all that's really good. It's sociable, so you're going out to meet people, see other foster carers, and get advice and support from each other.
Are people able to work part-time then, if and foster? Is that something that a lot of foster carers do?
Yeah, you can work part-time as long as you've got that availability. So obviously, as I said earlier, you've got school holidays to consider, you've got school runs to consider. If your part-time hours are within those hours, then that's absolutely fine. If you might have a partner, as long as either of you is available during school holidays to look after the child, that's okay.
So for like teachers, something like that could be good for that, because they get all that time off. TAs, teachers, people who work in schools.
As long as they can get the child to school, because I know teachers work long hours and have to be there for. Well, my friend gets there at 7:30, so that's a bit too early.
And they leave late, don't they, as well?
Yeah, but
so it's all just about kind of availability. And from the sounds of it, you work with the people who are inquiring, because at the end of the day, your goal is to get them to the next stage. So whatever you can do to help, I'm sure you're always up for that conversation and see what you do to support them, what Capstone can do to support them.
Yeah, and what I'd always say to people is that have a plan in place. We might have the first conversation, actually, no, it's not quite right at the moment, but actually this is what you need to do to be able to move forward. And if you've got a robust plan in place, you've got more chance of progressing through the assessment, reaching approval as a foster carer. Whereas if these things aren't sorted at first, then you'd fail at the first hurdle.
So you get a lot of people who, I guess, come and they want to foster, but maybe just haven't took the time to do that bit of research, read a few stories, read a few blogs, do that education, and you can see the kind of the skills in them, but you just know that like they're just not quite there yet, because they just haven't, I guess, read and find out exactly what it takes. But they've got all these skills, so you were like, oh, I really would love to progress you, but at this stage it's a no. But hopefully in months, weeks, years, you can definitely come back and find out more.
I think people, it's really important people are aware of the challenges in fostering as well, because it's not an easy job. And it's not just a case of working from home. You've got a child living with you 24/7, another child to care for in your home. But equally, from foster carers themselves, they will say it's such a rewarding thing to do, and they get so much satisfaction. And seeing those children develop and progress and move on to living independently and having their own lives and own careers, then it's a job well done. It's really important. And you've got those connections, those family connections. And foster carers, they may not keep in touch with foster children. They may do. It depends on obviously your if you want to do that and if they want to do that, but your relationship when you're together.
So we spoke about some myths about kind of, I guess, what potential foster carers think of. Are there any people that call you and kind of have these, I guess, myths about foster children and like the young people that we actually take care of, and maybe some negative, some positive? Are there any of those types of myths that you can think of that people have?
I think some people would think that having young children is easier. They'll say that they want to start off with young children before they move on to teenagers. That's not always the case. Every child is treated individual. They have different experiences, and how they've processed their experiences will be different. Every child in foster care, they may have experienced trauma. It's traumatic living away from your birth family. You're going into a home where you don't know anyone, and you're living with that family. So what I would say is, here at Capstone, we match children very carefully with our foster carers. So when we do an assessment, we get to know you really well. Following on from that, you will have a relationship with your supervising social worker and family matching team. And when we get referrals from the local authority, we will look at that referral and take into account your skill set, your knowledge, your experience, obviously your location as well. We don't want the child having to travel a long way to school. That wouldn't be fair on the child or the foster carer. So we match children, okay, and that's on needs rather than age. If people do have preferences, then we'll always take that into account if they just want, up to a certain age. But we'd also need to consider, are we getting the referrals? If they are very specific, if they are specific in their requirements, then there may be gaps in between placements. There may be a wait for another child to come along to live in their family home.
What are some of the, when people are calling and they say, I want this type of child, this age, this gender, does that happen a lot where people come in thinking that they want something very specific, and then obviously you explain that might not always be the case? But what are some of the main, characteristics, that people sometimes look for in specific children, the way you're like, that's not quite how it works, but something we can definitely look into with family matching? So is age, is one.
Age and gender is a big thing. Some people will say, I want a little girl because I've only got boys, but that's not how it works. We need a safe, secure home to place a child who needs a loving, stable environment, whatever their gender. They need to be open. We'd ask people to be open to different faiths, cultures, religions to themselves. We also have children referred to us from the LGBTQ plus community, so they need to be accepting and supportive of that. So we will always consider that everything I've just mentioned in the matching process. To make sure, obviously if it's a family that practices a certain faith or can speak a certain language, then it would be helpful. Not in all cases, but in some cases it would be a good match to place a child who did practice the same religion with them. And that may work. It may be that it's not appropriate to do that, but that's what I say. Each child is individual, and we need to support each individual child's needs.
Because I guess you could have 5 children on paper who look the exact same. For instance, you could look at all your kind of male, aged 14 to 60, have all these things, but then you get them all in front of you and start speaking to them, and they've lived completely different lives, and each of them need completely different skills. I guess it's when people are like teachers and stuff, and they're like, we have a classroom of all people who are the same age, same gender, but this person's amazing at science, this person's amazing at maths, and it's just about bridging the gaps and making sure that they've got the skills to aid where they're kind of struggling or doing really well, and making sure they can keep pushing them to do really well. So.
Exactly. I never thought of it like a classroom, and everyone is different, aren't they, at the end of the day? And actually there might be people can stereotype teenagers, and they may be avoidant of teenagers when fostering, but actually you might have a teenage boy or girl or child, young person, who is willing to sit and read your little one's stories and play with them and care for them. So but you could have a teenager who does abscond and is a bit more insecure than others. So
because I guess there are some young people who have already got siblings who may be a lot younger than, so then are coming in to this new family arrangement and having, for instance, if they've got their own birth children who are 4 or 5, they'd be like, oh, I've got siblings who are also around that age, so they've got also those skills to then support you. So you're not necessarily always supporting them. It actually can be really useful. They can help you out in the long run. It's really nice. So before we move on, are there any more myths that you've thought of where you're like, oh, I need to get this out there, just so people know, like, you can foster even though you think you might not be able to, with any myths? So we spoke about renting, the highly LGBT community, age, about
family dynamics, single carers. We've covered that. I'm trying to think now if there are any more.
We spoke about the upper age limit, so that there isn't really an upper age limit.
No, there is. Minimum.
How about the minimum?
So the minimum age is 21. Okay. If you're in a relationship, then we would require them the requirement would be to be in the relationship for a minimum of 2 years, living together for a minimum of 12 months. Okay, so obviously if it's a new relationship, then you need that time to yourself first of all to get used to living together. So you've got that security behind you, and in a good place to have a foster child come and live with you as well.
So how about if, I guess, someone is maybe a bit younger, in a relationship but not living with their partner, but they might have been together for a few years, but just I guess maybe not ready to live together yet. What would be the kind of process with that? Is that something that would be okay, or would that, I guess, need?
Yeah, I mean, anyone visiting the home on a regular basis, we need to consider.
Yeah.
And obviously, if it is a partner, they need to be DBS checked. And also, you need to just consider the effects on your relationship, because if you've got a foster child living with you, you might have gone to stay at their house every so often. That would be a lot more difficult. Holidays would be maybe more difficult. So you need to consider fostering. You both need to be supportive of fostering. So it's fine if that person doesn't live with you, it's fine. Obviously, if at one point you did decide to live together, then there'd need to be another assessment. They couldn't just move in, but yeah, it's fine. Just there's certain checks we'd need to do, and they probably need to speak to a social worker as well, but it's not an issue.
Right. So basically, from the sounds of it, it's that we'll work with you, and whatever issues you think you've got, just come, be honest, be open, and we'll, I say we, definitely Lucy, we'll be there to kind of support you and just tell you what your options are. And if it's a no for now, then we'll give you resources to hopefully make it a yes in the future.
I mean, the fostering advisors, they're all so friendly. And as I mentioned earlier, they're so passionate about their job. They still get excited when they get someone. And we have conversations about, I've just spoken to someone really great. They're going to be great. And they've got real passion and enthusiasm in their job. They'll also be open and honest with you, and if it isn't the right time for you, or if there is a little tweak that you need to make, then they'll tell you. And it's not because they want to stop you from progressing on your fostering journey. It's because they want you to, because they know that actually if these things are resolved first, these people could move forward in the assessment and be a foster carer.
That's so nice. Okay, so we're going to move on now. So we spoke about some of the myths. So I think it would be quite good to put some of these myths into perspective, into play. So I've got a little game. So I've got this amazing Capstone branded mug. If anyone comes to any of our events, you might be able to see these. So make sure you're following us to see. And inside I've got some random folded up notes, and they're kind of characters, personary people. So I'm going to pull them out. All I'm going to tell you is the name, and we're going to have a little phone call. And I want you to run through how you would treat anybody else. And I'm going to throw some questions out there, tell you some things about my life. And by the end of it, you've got to tell me what you would do with me. Are you going to progress me? Are you going to say it's a no, definitely? Or are you going to say it's a no, but in the future, it could be a yes? Okay, so are you ready? Okay,
I'm ready.
Let me give it a good shake. Also, I do apologise if any accents slip out. I'm not the best at can't really do fake stuff with my normal accent, so just apologies in advance for that. Okay, this is a good one to start with. So my name is Joanne. However, I am her son, so I'm going to be calling on her son as her son on her behalf.
Right,
and you'll find out more when she calls me. So if you want to ring me, let's have a conversation.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello there. So I'm calling on behalf of.
Oh, I need my phone.
I need my phone. How else are you calling?
Yeah.
So I'm just calling on behalf of my mum. She's inquired to foster.
Brilliant. So is your mum available to chat to?
She is next to me, but unfortunately she is partially deaf.
Right.
So it just might be a bit easier for us to talk now, and we just wanted to kind of see what the options are to see how we can progress with this.
Fab. Okay. So we just need a bit of a chat, or find out some more information from you about your mum.
Yeah.
There are, obviously, with her being deaf, there are considerations that we need to make. We need to know, from a risk assessment point of view, how she would communicate with a child, and if a child was got out of bed in the night, Has she, would she be able to hear them? So there are considerations that she'd need to make first of all. But initially, we just need to know, does your mum work?
No, she doesn't work at the moment. She's currently claiming benefits. And I
Yeah.
think that was one thing we wanted to talk about, because we was hoping that we was wanting to see if her benefits would be affected in any way.
Yeah.
She did used to work until it's been more of a recent thing over the
Yeah.
past few years where her hearing has slowly been deteriorating. She
Right.
does wear hearing aids. Unfortunately, she doesn't when she's in bed. So when she is in
Yeah.
bed asleep, she has to take them out and doesn't hear much at all. But was wondering if there's any way we could work, I guess, around that, or is there anything we can put into place to support us?
Yeah, well, we can speak to the RNIB, and we can find out if there are anything that would help her to hear the child, any changes that she could make. So if you could leave that with us, we would most certainly find that out for you. And in fact, we've recently had somebody with the same questions. So the assessment manager may already have this information, which we can provide to you.
Perfect.
So it's certainly not a no, but it's just something that we would need to consider in the assessment.
Okay, so what are my next steps from here?
Right. So your mum's not working. She's got the benefits.
Yeah.
What I would suggest you do, we'd need to know exactly what benefits she's receiving, because usually you can claim those benefits alongside fostering, but it depends what that is. So, for example, if she's receiving ESA and PIP, that's normally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd need to know why she's claiming those benefits and what we need to consider in the assessment as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for that. And hopefully we'll be in touch again soon.
Okay,
Bye.
See, I do that, and you probably do that because you're used to mobiles.
Yeah,
and
true. But I when I speak to my nieces are this. When I'm like, take a selfie, they're like this. Whereas I think I am still, I think I'm like just at the generation where we still had like those cameras and these phones. I've had it. My first phone was a flip phone. I thought it was really cool.
I don't feel so bad now.
It was like it was my mum's like hand me down. It was a little Nokia, and I used to flip it up like that and be able to text. It was really cool. I was like a child. I was like in primary school as well, so I thought I was the coolest that I had a phone. Okay, so that's the first one. Are you ready for the next one?
Go on then.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Ben.
Ben.
Are you ready for the call?
Go on then.
Hello.
Hello, Ben.
Hello there.
How can I help you?
So I'm just inquiring about fostering, really. I was just wondering what you needed to know about me.
Yeah, okay. So what's made you interested in becoming a foster carer, Ben?
Well, I actually am currently a teacher.
Right.
So I'm only a few years into teaching, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying kind of spending time with the children, helping them learn. But it's just quite sad when I have to leave at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the children. I just know that some of them might not be going back to the best place. And I've just been talking to people about fostering. And I think it's definitely something that I'm interested in. I do currently rent. I'm 25 and single, but so I just don't know if fostering is for me as I'm a single man. But I just wanted to see what my options were.
Okay, so let's break it down a bit. So first of all, you're a teacher, which is great. So you get all school holidays off, and you will have some excellent transferable skills from teaching, which you will use or need in fostering. What time do you go to work then?
Well, I get up quite early, about 7ish.
Yeah.
And I get back about 4. However, I think that fostering could be my next career. I think I'm potentially thinking of leaving teaching. Although I do love it, I just don't think it is the end job for me. And I think something like foster care could be. Yeah,
great. Okay. So what you need to consider if you're going to stop teaching is your income. So as a foster carer, you're self-employed. You get fees paid to you when you've got a child living with you, which, to be honest, there is a shortage of foster carers at the moment. And there's so many children that need care. We would hope that you would have a child living with you for most of the time. And the more open you are, the more chance you have of having a child. But because it's not something we can guarantee, what you need to consider is if there were gaps in between children living with you, how would you support yourself? How would you pay your bills if you haven't got that fostering income?
So I guess as I already am a teacher, would there be the option of me doing some agency work on the side so that I could still be teaching and still kind of, I guess, get even more skills and then also that income from when I'm off? Is that something that is a possibility?
Yeah, that's really good. And you've got that benefit as a teacher. So do nurses. They can do bank work or people support workers. But to being a supply teacher can fit really nicely, because once you're registered with that agency, if you do need to top up, you may have a child living with you and be able to do agency work as well.
I never thought I'd be able to do that.
Yeah, you can certainly work alongside fostering, as long as you're that person that can get them to school and pick them up at the end of the day. Then that's fine.
Okay, so where do I go from here?
Okay, so first of all, obviously you'd need to consider that you've had the conversations with your employer, or make sure that you made the decision that this is the way you want to move forward. Do you have a spare bedroom at home, Ben?
Yes, I do actually. I have a spare bedroom. Currently is a gym, but I'm in the process of doing some rework and getting rid of the weights and putting in a bed.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've emailed you some information across. I hope you had a chance to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Then, so what would happen next? I'll give you a whistle-stop tour of the next steps. We would arrange for someone to come out and see you and chat with you face to face. So that would be a really good opportunity for you to ask any questions. You're under no obligation at this point.
Okay.
And also, we would also talk to you about your suitability to foster. If after that home visit, then there's nothing that would prevent you from moving forward, and of course you'd like to, we'd ask you to fill out an application form, and once you complete that and send it back, we would start a fostering assessment, and that takes between 4 and 6 months to complete. Okay. At the end of the assessment, all your details and information are sent to a panel, and the panel make that decision as to whether you can foster.
Okay, that's really interesting. I think this is something that I'll definitely progress with and have the conversations with the school and also with some family, I guess, because I need some support.
Yeah. So the next steps really, Ben, is when you're ready, we just need about half an hour of your time to go through a few more questions so we can get a little bit more information from you, and then we can arrange for someone to pop out and see you and have a chat with you face to face. We can arrange it at a convenient time for you as well. So don't worry about your availability.
Perfect. That's great. Thanks for the call.
You're welcome. And I'll give you a call next week to sort that out.
Great.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Bye.
I've got a question. I just thought about it while we were on the take phone call. So obviously I know Capstone we're all over. We're up north, south, Midlands.
Yeah.
This might be a me thing, but if I was talking to someone from the north or from London, I'm going to change my accent to whatever their accent's like. Do you ever find yourself doing that? Just speaking in a completely different accent?
I don't. Even if I try to talk a bit posher, because I'm a bit conscious of my Brummie accent, they'll say, "Where are you? Are you in Birmingham?"
The worst thing. Whenever, to be fair, I get the biggest compliment I think I've ever got is when I go see some of my university friends and from the south. The parents always say to me, "Oh, you don't sound like you're from Birmingham," and it's the biggest compliment I think I ever get in my life. But it's because I notice when I'm, especially Southern people, whenever I talk to them, this voice comes out of me. I don't know what it is. It's like this posh voice. And I know for a while, like if I was on the phones, I'd be talking Northern, I'd be talking Welsh, I'd be talking my accent would change whoever I'm on the phone to.
It wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, make them hopefully feel more at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Make us feel more comfortable on the call. Okay, so that was a good call. Let's do another. Okay, so the next one, this is a big one. Hopefully this is a fun one.
A chunky one.
Yeah, because we've had 2 yeses so far, and I know for a while there are some no's, so we're going to have to see. Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
So my name's Malachi. Okay.
Malachi,
yeah.
Okay.
So get ready to give me a call.
Yeah.
Hello there, mate. My name's Malachi.
Hello, Malachi.
Hello there.
How can I help you?
So I'm just a bit interested in fostering. I've been thinking about it for a while now. Currently a TA, and I just wanted to know what my next steps would be.
Great, okay. So you've got some good experience.
Yeah.
What's made you want to foster, Malachi?
Just speaking with my girlfriend, I think it's just our next step. It just feels like right for us at the moment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find out more, really. I want to see if I'd be able to.
Brilliant, okay. So have you got your own house?
Yeah, so we're currently renting at the moment.
Yeah.
We've been renting for about 4 years, the same place. And yeah, I just want to find out more.
Okay. So I noticed an accent.
Oh yeah, I'm actually from Australia.
Ah,
I'm currently here on a working visa at the
right.
moment.
Okay.
So I've been here for about 5-6 years.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she is British. She's from England.
Right.
But I was looking to be the main carer, and I was wondering if that's a possibility.
Yeah. So unfortunately, as a main foster carer, you do need to have indefinite leave to remain in the UK, or you need to be a British citizen. So
Oh.
if your girlfriend was going to be the main carer, then that's fine. But for yourself, you would need to apply for your indefinite leave to remain.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're obviously not married, because if you were married, then you're on a spouse visa, and we'd need to consider your long-term arrangements as well. Obviously, if you're planning on going back over to Australia, or planning on staying in the UK long term.
I think we're planning on staying long term. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I just need to get married, then I'll get the green card. I'll
Yeah,
be fine.
maybe. Get
So-
time for you to pop the question, Malachi.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the push I need to get
Yeah.
married to my girlfriend.
Yeah. So you can become a foster carer.
Okay, perfect. Just a question then. So, like, if she was the main carer, what does that mean? Because could she be classed as the main carer, but I be the one that sees him the most?
No, as the main carer, you need to take the responsibility for the child. So it would need to be you that goes out and earns the money, or not. But your girlfriend would need to be the one that is more involved, going to the meetings. You'd both need to do training anyway.
Okay.
You both need to do training. But yeah, if you're just on a working visa, then it wouldn't be possible for you to foster.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, I'll have a think about that and hopefully be in touch soon.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, that was good. Cool. Did I sound Australian at all? Did that come across correct?
You did. I knew you were Australian as soon as you spoke.
I was waiting to see how long it would take for you to, like, not pick up on it because it was obvious, but to I was like, when is she gonna ask me where I'm from? And it took longer than I expected. That's good to know. So if they're on a working visa, they just need to either get married. So if anyone is wanting to foster, just get married. It's fine.
If you're on a spouse visa, it's fine as long as the main foster carer is a British citizen or has ILR.
So
she's got to.
My girlfriend would still need to be.
Yeah, so your girlfriend would still need to be the main carer. But you can foster as a couple. We only recently, well, it's probably last year, we changed our policy, because it used to be that both people that applied needed.
Capstone changed their policy, or did the local authority? Oh, nice.
Capstone. But yeah, we've had some foster carers apply who got absolutely no intention of moving back to wherever they, I think it was South Africa. And so she was on a spouse visa. They've got a child. Child was a British citizen. Husband's a British citizen. Looking at the bigger picture, they've got no intention of going back. They would make fantastic foster carers. So yeah, that's when we consider changing our policy.
Okay, fun. Okay, should we do one more?
Go on.
There are a few in there, so hopefully we get, for our last one, a good one. And if it's a boring one, then maybe I'll skip it. Okay, here we are. Okay, this is a really good one. So my name's Dottie. Feel free to give me a call whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I have to keep changing hands because my fingers keep getting a bit tired. Okay. Hello.
Hello, is that Dottie?
Yeah.
Hello.
Dottie speaking.
It's Lucy from Capstone Foster Care here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just calling because you've made an inquiry about becoming a foster carer.
Yeah, I really wanted to start fostering now that, I don't know, I just feel like I need some little ones in my home.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been thinking of fostering for?
So, well, I've been fostering, really thinking about it for only a few months, but I've been doing some research. I've been watching some movies where I see the little ones running around and playing outside, and I just think, oh, that would be perfect for me.
Oh, brilliant. So do you work, Dottie?
No, so I don't work. My husband works. He's the breadwinner.
Right.
So I was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the moment. no working.
So your children still with you?
Yeah, all my children do still live with me.
Okay. So how many bedrooms have you got, Dottie?
Well, I do have 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So 1 for me and my husband, and then 2 for my children.
Okay. And so do your children have their own bedrooms at the moment?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And are they the same gender, your children?
No, different. 1 boy, 1 girl.
Ah, right, Dottie. So if for you to become a foster carer, you need to have a spare bedroom.
Oh, didn't know if they could just sleep in, I guess, the living room or kitchen.
No, you need to keep a communal area for the foster child to go in and the whole family to have family time.
I thought this was about fostering dogs. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's all right, Dottie. I'm sorry we can't help you with dogs.
Oh, I thought this was a fostering agency.
It is a fostering agency, but for children and young people.
Oh, so how do I move forward from here?
Well, if you want to foster dogs, I would suggest just looking in Google for fostering dogs.
Oh, okay then. Thanks for that.
Okay,
Sorry about wasting your time.
No problem, Dottie.
Bye.
Bye.
How often does that happen? Because I know when we've recently done a campaign with 2 of our foster carers, and at the start of the video, they're walking their dogs, and we were getting so many comments of people being like, "Oh, I wish I could foster dogs, but I've already got 4 dogs on my own," and they just didn't get it. No, it's not for animals; it is for fostering children.
Well, the fostering advisors, they only last week I had someone who wanted us to foster their 3 cats, but I've had people want to foster pigs before and dogs. It happens. So yeah,
I thought I'd throw one in. I was trying to leave a little breadcrumbs in there, and I was like, I'll just see him running around. I want to take him for nice walks. So I was trying to leave little breadcrumbs to see if you pick up. But yeah, so definitely no fostering animals. Definitely no fostering animals here.
No.
So it's the end of the game. There are some more people in there. So maybe if we get any other members of your team, then the rest of the characters in there, we'll whip them out and do this pretty fun game. So moving on. We spoke about before with people calling to foster pigs.
Yeah.
Are there any other kind of, I want to say horror stories, or just like calls where you just like hung up the phone and thought, what was that?
Yeah. So difficult conversations. So yeah, we've had people want to foster animals. It's also difficult if people do not speak English, because to be a foster carer, we'd need to be able to converse. You'd need to be able to do the training, converse with the foster children who may only speak English. So that's a consideration that we need to make, but it's also very difficult to explain over the phone. But we have also got a fostering advisor who's able to speak Urdu, and she's willing to do that over the phone, so that can make that a bit easier.
How about if, for instance, I was the main carer, I spoke English, but my partner didn't speak English? How would we progress with that?
Well, what we'd need to consider is if your partner's willing to learn, what language you speak in the home. Because if you imagine a foster child moving into a home, they only speak English, yet you're communicating in another language that they don't understand. It's isolating anyway, and it's not going to make them feel comfortable and relaxed
or and at home at all. Realistically, it's once they move in, you want to make sure it feels like their home. If they're just there like they've put the wrong language on Netflix. It's like, what is going on? It mustn't feel good. Yeah,
but also, you need to do the training. Something really important as well is writing safeguard reports. It would need to be in English, so the expectation is that people can read and write in English. If they speak other languages, that's amazing, because obviously we get children who do speak different languages, so we would always use that as a skill and something to consider when matching a child. One thing that, it's really sad when some people, they inquire with us, you have a conversation, they are just so passionate about helping children and they've got some great experience. We know that they'd make a wonderful foster carer, but they might just have not a spare bedroom. So it's that, that small thing, well, it's a big thing, but it's preventing them from moving forward. So that's always sad.
So I guess it's less horror stories and more just like sad. The one that got away kind of story. It's like they have still these skills, and you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
would love to just sneak you through, but you can't.
Yeah. And we also, we do have some sensitive conversations because a fostering assessment is very in depth because we've got to safeguard children. So it's really important that we ask all the right questions. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a duty of care to the applicant as well. And as part of the Form F assessment, for a Form F, it's like a life story. So it's talking through significant life events of yourself from birth up to present day. No stones left unturned in an assessment. So it's really important that you're aware that you are going to have sensitive conversations to complete the assessment.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's the same with I know speaking to some of the staff about, and when they talk about, I don't want my ex to, I don't want you to have any conversations with my ex, which especially I think, isn't it when they've got children with their ex, then it's most of the times, obviously there are ways we can work around it if it's a serious situation, but people sometimes can be a bit reluctant to, I guess, progress because of those conversations. They have to speak with their exes, maybe family members they no longer speak to, stuff like that.
Everything needs to be explored. We would never want to put anyone at risk of harm. And
I guess that's both the potential foster carers and the children. So
absolutely, yeah. So we will always explore situations if it's just. So speaking to ex-partners in the assessment is a requirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the requirement of so if it was, I guess, someone I was with for a few months when 5 years ago, is that someone that would still need to be chatted to?
It depends on how, if you live with that person, what the significance of that relationship is. We understand people break up for a reason, and we're not going to take everything they say as if anything negative is said or derogatory, it needs to be evidence, really. We know people break up, and sometimes breakups can be friendly and sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
But it's for safeguarding reasons that we'd need to speak to them. So it is a requirement. If the police were ever involved in incidents, then no, we may look to contact somebody that knew you at the time, and get alternative references. But it is a requirement, and it can make people feel uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we got some, I guess, horror, sad stories. If someone was to call you now and you'd hang up and you'd be like, wow, that was the best call I've ever had in my whole entire life, what would have happened in that call to make it just perfect for you?
I just think if somebody's got the space, they've got a spare room, they have got the availability, they've got experience in working with children, young people, adults, their support, they've got a naturally caring nature, and I think you can hear in people's voices their desire to foster. And it's when you foster, you're a professional person, and you will be going to meetings with social workers at the school, to appointments, and you need to be the type of person who is happy to do that and understanding of the requirements. So yeah, it's you can tell by speaking to people sometimes, the reasons that they want to foster, and it really comes from the heart. Some people don't even realise that you get paid to foster.
Oh, really?
They don't realise you get that carer's allowance fee, and that just really touches me, because I think these people are willing to foster for nothing. They're willing to take another child into their home for no carer's allowance, which is just amazing. Amazing
definitely.
people.
Definitely.
Foster carers are amazing.
So okay, so wrapping it up now, let's end the podcast soon. So I just want to know, this is for both personally, within Capstone, within your career, what are your future goals?
Oh wow, so my children have all grown up and getting older, so I'm going to enjoy my independence and do some travelling. That's personally. Spend some time with my husband.
Where are you going to go travelling? Go on, give us your top 3 places.
Do you know
where you
what?
want to go.
I think we're going to do Italy next year on our own, and that will be the first holiday on our own. And we've been married 25 years, so it's a
First holiday
achievement next
on your
year.
own? Oh my God.
Oh, we probably had one like before
the
then.
kids.
But my son's he'll be 24 next year, so there's not much of a gap between marriage and first child. But yeah, now they're all quite independent. We've got more time together.
Nice.
So yeah. And professionally, it's to carry on and develop the fostering recruitment process to recruit more foster carers, which we definitely need. It's
100%.
crucial. This country, there's more children needing foster care than.
I think we spoke about it in the introduction. I think we were saying there's like 100,000 plus young people, and only like 53,000 foster families. Like it's insane. So hopefully with this podcast, we'll definitely get that. And I think that was also leading on to the next question from this episode of this podcast, and also I guess just the podcast in general. I know we're only 3 episodes in. What are your hopes and goals and kind of key takeaways that all of our listeners and viewers get from this episode and also from this podcast?
I would urge anyone who has got an inkling of desire to foster to give us a call. The fostering advisors are so friendly. They're all willing to help. As I said, that if there's something that's stopping you, they'll be honest. They'll tell you what you need to do to progress. You might have just a small question you want to ask. Absolutely fine. We've got online chat on our website. You can submit an inquiry. You can just give us a call. It's no problem.
Even on social media, give us a DM or comment on, if you're on YouTube or TikTok listening to this, give us a comment. We'll answer it as soon as we can. But
I hope it's raised awareness and given people understanding of what happens in the fostering assessment process and what the requirements to foster are.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And there might be something that, the myths we spoke about, there might be think, well, I can't foster because of this.
Yeah.
Actually, it's always worth asking the question, because anyone can foster as long as you've got that, the spare room. Start with your spare room. And what else would you be doing?
And look at your house. If you think, I don't have a spare room. If you have an office, you've got a spare room. If you've got a gym, you've got a spare room.
Yeah.
You've got to maybe take a step back and just look at your house and be like, oh wait, no, this is a spare bedroom. This could be a bedroom.
Yeah. So.
Okay, and then final question. This is something not really fostering related. Again, just personally for you. We ask it to every single guest to round off the podcast. So, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self if you could go back in time now?
Oh my gosh. I would say, don't sweat the small stuff and follow your dreams.
Oh, that's such a nice one. That's such a good one to end the podcast on.
Yeah,
so nice.
I think when you're 18, you spend so much time worrying about trivial things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So don't sweat the small things. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a really, really good and really fun podcast. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Please make sure you tell all the staff here that it was such a good time. And thanks all for listening, watching.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all in episode 4 in 2 weeks. Thank you. Thanks again, Lucy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.